I am continuing in my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am continuing reading in a chronological order, according to event, not according to publication or volume, so I'm skipping around a bit as I move along. We are continuing in Helaman. The beginning of the Gadianton robbers. They kill Pehoran II when he is elected chief judge. Then we read how Helaman is elected chief judge, and in that election, his running opponent was Gadianton. They were both putting their names in to be the chief judge. When Helaman wins, Gadianton's band tries to have him killed. Kishkumen, their chief assassin, is caught and killed himself, and the band flees into the wilderness. That's where we left off. We are picking this up in chapter 3, but it is a little bit long, so I will be reading the first 16 verses in this video. Many Nephites migrate to the land northward. They build houses of cement and keep many records. Tens of thousands are converted and baptized. The word of God leads men to salvation. Nephi, the son of Helaman, fills the judgment seat. Now it came to pass in the 43rd year of the reign of the judges, there was no contention among the people of Nephi, save it were a little pride which was in the church, which did cause some little dissensions among the people, which affairs were settled in the ending of the 43rd year. And there was no contention among the people in the 44th year, neither was there much contention in the 45th year. And it came to pass in the 46th year, there was much contention and many dissensions, in the which there were an exceedingly great many who departed out of the land of Zarahemla, and went forth unto the land northward to inherit the land. And they did travel to an exceedingly great distance, insomuch that they came to large bodies of water and many rivers. Yea, and even they did spread forth into all parts of the land, into whatsoever parts it had not been rendered desolate and without timber, because of the many inhabitants who had before inhabited the land. And now no part of the land was desolate, save it were for timber. But because of the greatness of the destruction of the people who had before inhabited the land, it was called desolate. And there being but little timber upon the face of the land, nevertheless the people who went forth became exceedingly expert in the working of cement. Therefore they did build houses of cement, in the which they did dwell. And it came to pass that they did multiply and spread, and did go forth from the land southward to the land northward, and did spread insomuch that they began to cover the face of the whole earth, from the sea south to the sea north, from the sea west to the sea east. And the people who were in the land northward did dwell in tents and in houses of cement, and they did suffer whatsoever tree should spring up upon the face of the land, that it should grow up, that in time they might have timber to build their houses. Yea, their cities, and their temples, and their synagogues, and their sanctuaries, and all manner of their buildings. And it came to pass, as timber was exceedingly scarce in the land northward, they did send forth much by the way of shipping. And thus they did enable the people in the land northward that they might build many cities, both of wood and of cement. And it came to pass that there were many of the people of Ammon, who were Lamanites by birth, did also go forth into this land. And now there are many records kept of the proceedings of this people, by many of this people which are particular and very large concerning them. But behold, 100th part of the proceedings of this people, yea, the account of the Lamanites and of the Nephites, and their wars and contentions and dissensions, and their preaching, and their prophecies, and their shipping, and their building of ships, and their building of temples and of synagogues, and their sanctuaries, and their righteousness, and their wickedness, and their murders, and their robbings, and their plunderings, and all manner of abominations and whoredoms cannot be contained in this work. But behold, there are many books and many records of every kind, and they have been kept chiefly by the Nephites, and they have been handed down from one generation to another by the Nephites, even until they have fallen into transgression, and have been murdered, plundered, and hunted, and driven forth, and slain, and scattered upon the face of the earth, and mixed with the Lamanites, until they are no more called the Nephites, becoming wicked and wild and ferocious, yea, even becoming Lamanites. Now those last few verses, that's a description of what's going to happen just after the time of Mormon. But what's going on here? We have a number of years where we have general peace. And then we have this 46th year, many dissensions and contentions, but no wars are breaking out, and the Nephites aren't dissenting down to the Lamanites. Now, the land northward has been opened, so the people are traveling into the north. And they're spreading out, they're filling the land northward. They're coming to the land of many waters. It makes you think of the Great Lakes. but they're filling the land, and it appears to some extent that they're almost a separate nation from the rest of the Nephites. And we see other indications of this later on, but they don't want to be in the Nephites. There's discontent with the government, with the religion, with whatever, and they're moving away, they're spreading out. Maybe it's just that there's not enough room anymore. People get too crowded in. But you note, a lot of the people of Ammon are traveling up there. Up to this point, the people of Ammon have been a united group. They've always stayed together. Now they're breaking up, they're spreading out. They are no longer going to be the people of Ammon. But notice, once again, we have Mormon talking about the records. The records of everything going on in the land northward. The entire Book of Mormon, until we get to the time of Mormon himself, is a record of the land southward. None of it is in the land northward. They talk about people going into the land northward, and we get these very brief mentions here. We have the story of Hagoth and his ships. We have this story of the cement, the developing of cement, and the basic practice of not chopping down any trees in the north, and the shipping and stuff going up there. We're given all these little hints. Even when the important characters travel into the land northward, we're not told anything about it. Everything in the Book of Mormon is in the land southward until we get to the days of Mormon himself. That's when we get into the land northward. But Mormon is telling us that the records still exist. Even in the land northward, they were keeping the records. They aren't included in this book. They aren't included in the Book of Mormon, but the records were made because the records are required. They are necessary. Anyways, we will leave that here, and I'll pick it up in my next video.